The Breakdown is brought to you by Burger King. Coming up on The Breakdown, we argue outside backs for the World Cup. Can Camo and Jeff agree to disagree? Goldie takes on Sterling Mortlock in a BMW Bledisloe.
But this will be the moral victory that the Wallabies are after, mate.
And we look ahead to another chapter in the epic rivalry between Auckland and Canterbury.
He's got the pace. This could be a try for Terry Wright. Can he get it before it gets to the dead ball line? Yes.
Yes, welcome to The Breakdown. If you love rugby, there is plenty to talk about. Round 3 of the ITM Cup has kicked off. Of course, there's an All Black Rugby, or the World Cup Rugby squad announcement on Sunday. We've got action from the Northern Hemisphere. So many things to discuss and debate. Let's not waste any more time. We brought the big guns in as well. They've got plenty to say. Ian Jones, I didn't see that too often, and Justin Marshall with us. I'll tell you what, there's a bit of excitement around this All Black announcement. I know elections are big, but I'll tell you what, plenty of debate going on right now, guys.
It's not fair, is it? It's not fair because we're in a situation here in New Zealand that's the envy of the rest of the world. We're having to leave world-class players out, and that's why there's so much debate. There's going to be some players that deserve to be at a World Cup on the big stage that are not going to be there, but it's a great position for New Zealand rugby to be in.
Next 3 or 4 days, Camo, there's going to be a lot of people talking about it.
Really nervous time for all these players as well. No matter how established you are, you know, if you're an All Black, you're always waiting for that phone call and you always want that confirmation. And when you have that confirmation, you say, thanks, coach, I'm not going to let you down. So it's a big moment for the player and their families as well. Look, we can speculate, but those players and their families in that situation, it's a hell of a week.
Do you think they know? Do you think they'll call them and tell them?
Oh, they'll definitely call them, and I'll call them on Saturday. They don't know at the moment, mate, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, there's some guys who have still got some rugby to play in the ITM Cup. Well, announcement out of New Zealand rugby today. This guy's no doubt Aaron Smith's going to the World Cup. He has just re-signed with New Zealand rugby through to 2019. And Justin, I've got to ask you, how important was getting his signature across the line in your eyes?
Oh, it was vital because he's one of the incumbent All Blacks at the moment. There's plenty of players that are leaving or retiring, and you'd have to say Aaron Smith is an experienced player now. He's been there for long enough, so the key signings for the All Blacks now is retaining that talent, and he's the talent. There's no doubt he's the best halfback in the country, but also it's what he brings to the All Blacks.
Cam, I want to ask you about that, though, the fact that we're starting to secure these players for longer-term contracts. In the past, it's been 1 or 2 years extensions, but 4 years. I think Julian Sevilla is another one of those players for 4 more years. To know that we've got that ability to keep them here for longer periods of time.
Couple of key reasons. It's all fantastic. Culture, environment, really, really good what they're nurturing in there. The long-term contracts are signing the All Black coaches too. I think it's really important. It's nice for the security of those players as well. And the goals that these guys in this team have got, that they want to be great All Blacks. They're not sticking around to play 10, 20, 30 test matches. They're sticking around, as Julian Sevilla said, and I think the Smith signing is big as Retallick, as big as Julian Sevilla signing a couple of months ago, that they want to be 50-plus test All Blacks, and that is great for us. And, money-wise, well, what is money? When you're playing at the peak and living your dream, it is big. They're wearing the All Black jersey, mate. You cannot do that living in England, playing in France or going to Japan.
Well, the interesting thing, you start talking about culture and environment yesterday in New Zealand. They had an announcement, and it was in conjunction with the fact Kevin Mealamu had announced that post the Rugby World Cup he was going to retire, but now he's going to fill a role for New Zealand Rugby as an ambassador, and particularly looking in and around the Auckland region. And if you think about that, Marsh, you think all of the things that Kevin Mealamu's done for the game, this is just reward for such a well-respected man.
Absolutely, well-respected, equally as respected off the field as on the field. But the biggest thing that I found when I heard this, I wasn't surprised by the retirement, but the fact that they've moved him into this ambassador role, it totally suits him. That was not a shock at all. It's like, yes, that's the perfect way to use this bloke who has given so much to New Zealand rugby, and the role that would suit him perfectly. They've given it to him. Ideal.
Camo, interesting for me, though, the fact that it was singled out, the fact that a lot of his work is going to be done in the Auckland region. What does that suggest to you?
Well, it suggests that Auckland's a big market, and Auckland's a market that's under pressure and a real strain as well. And the New Zealand Rugby Union identified that we have big issues and drop-off here in the youth market, under 19, under 21. Kevy can target that at the club level. We have big issues here clearly with sideline behaviour, and a guy like Kevy Mialamu and other players of that ilk who can get to the clubs and just calm people down and you know, chill the attitude out on the club level, really important. And this guy has been in our system since 1995. Yeah. I mean, this guy is All Black New Zealand rugby and can go into any environment we like. I think it's wonderful, and Auckland is a big market, and Auckland is a market the rugby union have to look after.
Congratulations to him. It's great to see him involved in the game after he's finished playing. Well, of course, on Sunday, the big announcement's happening for the Rugby World Cup squad. This is what we decided to do. I put my team together, Camo put his team together, and we've let Justin have the opportunity to pick us all apart and get it wrong and throw his darts out there and see what he's got to say. I'll tell you what, the first thing we did was, Camo, was we put together our forwards, and would you believe it, we had to pick 17, and we come up with the same 17. I find that hard to believe, but for you was the fact that we're only going to take 3 locks. Did that seal it for you and was it easy to get to this point?
Well, it became easy after, with respect to Broadhurst's performance, I think, in Ellis Park, and I think that sort of weighed it away in the performance of Vito. He did at Eden Park, and his ability to jump at number 2 in the line-out. And I'm looking at this tournament as a whole, Goldie. When I'm picking my team, I really am picking the 23 that will play the pool stages for us, and then numbers 24 through to 31 sort of just make up the numbers. And yeah, they're not going to play as many games, and I don't see them needing to play as many games. And that's why when I looked at that, 7 games in total, if they go all the way, we actually only need 3 locks over there to do that.
Yeah, and interesting that we've got Charlie Faumuina in that mix. The sheer fact he's going to play for Auckland this week. He'll get his game time in front of him, so we think he's going to be in a good enough shape to play. Let's have a look now at the most talked about spot, though. We don't want to give Justin a chance to talk about forwards. We're going to look at the backs, and it was the outside back situation. I'm going to show you who I've decided to go with. I want to take Israel Dagg, and here's my reasoning. The sheer fact of the matter, I want his experience. He's a guy who played in the 2011 Rugby World Cup final. His kicking game, his positional play, his work under the high ball. I believe Ben Smith is a #1 fullback, but I want a specialist backup for him on the off chance that he's not going to be able to play for a game or 2, and if we got into a tight match, I want the security, and I like what Israel Dagg has brought to the table through his early season form and with his test match against Argentina. I think they've got great trust and loyalty, but Camo, of course, you've seen it in a different direction.
Of course I have. I've also only gone for 2 halfbacks. Because I've gone for 2 halfbacks, I've extended some of the other places out there, but I've gone for Milner Scudder because, Piatel for a start, I've gone for ability to play both wings, and he's played both wings in the All Black jersey, and the ability to play fullback. His work rate is out there, and he is a current form player. Every time he's worn the All Black jersey this year, he's done what the All Black selectors have asked of him. He's made yards, as I say, his work rate's been good, and he's scored some tries as well, 5 tries in his 17 test matches. I think that's really important as well, and I'm not getting hooked up in the injury debate. If Ben Smith falls over, who have you got to go in that position? Look, they have a 48-hour stand-down period. I mean, the guys need to get injured at lunchtime on a Thursday so they can't play on a Saturday afternoon. I'm not so worried about that. If it did come to shove and he injured himself in the warm-up, well, Milner Scudder has played a lot of rugby at fullback and is a damn good player, and Colin Slade. Look,
I think Milner Scudder's done enough in his 2 test matches, Justin, but here's the thing. Here's 2 guys, 2 different types of player. You've got Corey Jane, all his experience, and Waisake Nahola. What could they bring? And have you found room for either of those guys in place of what we've got? Or are you going to find, like Australia did, some magic spaces where they're just going to find some more guys?
Well, again, it's a position that's stacked full of talent, isn't it, out the outside backs? And when you factor into the mix the likes of the rest of the makeup of the back line, the ability of Bowden Barrett, of Colin Slade to play on the outsides, Sonny Bill Williams at the last World Cup played on the wing, Whiki Toa could play on the wing. Yep. There's just enough talent there to cover those spaces. But both of those players, when you think about Naholo and Corey Jane, one of them is going to bring, I guess, raw speed. And that's Naholo, isn't it? And probably if you broke the All Blacks down, really looked at the ins and outs of the makeup and balance of their back line, is there any other player with blistering pace like Waisake Nahola?
We've got plenty of acceleration. We've got guys who've got
power,
pace,
skill set, step, but do we have somebody who's got the ability when he gets the ball to just put the foot down and go like nobody else in the Rugby World Cup, because he can shift?
Do you see them finding a spot for him? Then if you think about that, because he can shift and he's made the recovery, he looks as though he could be available game 2 or 3, Justin. Do you sit there and go, that's a risk I'm prepared to take?
Well, it depends again on how you want to make up that back three. And is it a risk? I don't think so, because I think what he offers gives the All Blacks something that they haven't had for quite a while, probably since another Fijian, Sivivatu.
Yep. And Corey Jane, though, if you look at his form, yes, it was in a performance against North Harbour, who didn't play well against Wellington, but he came in here and you asked him to go out and do his job. And he did his job, and he just showed the little touches that showed that he is a world-class player, Kamo.
Look, there's no doubt about it, he's a world-class player, and there's going to be some very, very good players who are going to miss out in this Rugby World Cup squad, and that has no detriment to their form, past or current, as a player in the All Black jersey. But, boy, we have a wealth of talent. Naholo's classic example. For me, though, to make Naholo, he has to start. He has to be in my match day starting 15 because he doesn't play any other positions. Of course, you know, Corey Jane does. You know, Piatel does, Dag does, all the other guys do, and maybe I think that's why they sort of swing the other way. But we're going to find out, aren't we, 6:30 on a Sunday night.
And like you say, some really good players are going to miss out. Let's move now on to the first fives. Now, a lot of debate certainly around this and the form of all of our first fives. And Kamo, you've found a way to fit them all in.
I have, and the way I've found it is to only take 2 halfbacks, because once again, it's 7 matches, fit halfbacks. I want to play all the games as well, and by only taking 2 halfbacks, I've then given room for Lima Sopoaga as a specialist 10, because I think in my mind Slade and Bodie Barrett are better in the reserve bench, coming on the impact and the positions they can cover. Now, if something happens to Dan Carter during the tournament, and God forbid it doesn't, but it does, then we want a current number 10 who specialises in that position, who has a kicking percentage for the last 3 years of Super Rugby up and above the 80% mark, which is fantastic at any level, and has been playing in that position this year. I mean, poor old Colin Slade hasn't had a lot of game time at this top level in the 10 jersey. I think it's too big a risk. That's why I go Lima Sopoaga.
And so that position of the third 9, we've seen Australia choose Matt Giteau and say believe that he's got the ability to do it. Do you think Colin Slade, who's played about 20 minutes, I think it was, in a test match, is he good enough to cover that third halfback spot? Do you think they would take just 2 halfbacks?
I think they will. The way they want to marry their backline out, I certainly do. Colin Slade has got the ability to fulfil the role. He hasn't got the ability to be a world-class halfback. But he can interim fill the hole while you bring over that third halfback, who both of them will be playing, or 3 of them will be playing right through the ITM Cup, will be match fit. Halfbacks are not lazy people, gentlemen. We are fit.
Keep yourself fit. You're an athlete, Marshy. You don't need when to give it up.
So they will be fine if they get called up. Won't be a problem.
You're still playing. Well, let's have a look at my backs. Let's have a look at them as I've laid them down. And there they are, my first fives for a start. I'm going to go with the status quo. The Dan Carter, Beauden Barrett, Colin Slade. I'm confident they don't need another first 5. I'm confident in what I saw from Colin Slade's goal kicking, that if he had to step up and play the position, I loved what he did last year. Beauden Barrett as well, in his limited opportunities last year, did very well. Look, it's tough on Lima Sopoaga, but I certainly believe his time is going to come in the All Black jersey. We don't need to rush this. Dan Carter's not here next year. Colin Slade's not here next year. He's going to get his chance. And if we need him, we will see him at the Rugby World Cup if something was to happen. Let's have a look at our backlines then as they fit together. And there it is. There's my backlines. I think they're going to take 3 halfbacks. So I've got faith. I think they believe they'll need them there, and they don't want to take that risk of someone not being in the environment. I think Tawera Kubalo needs to be in and around that environment to get up to speed. That's how I like it. I could be completely wrong. And Kamo, let's roll on and have a look at your backs. And you're doing it with this confidence. You're prepared to take the risk.
Yeah, the reason why I'm going for 2 halfbacks, because those guys, I mean, their fitness is a really high standard. They're energetic. They want to be involved. And there's 7 matches that they go all the way. These guys want to do that. There's 7 opportunities, Goldie, to wear the black jersey. And the third halfback in 2011, Jimmy Cowan, right, come on 4 just bit parts. It really doesn't sort of need it. These guys can do that. That's why I want the specialist number 10 as a backup to DC. For me, Slade and Bodie Barrett are both bench players. And bench players, God forbid, they are really important. It's not a match day 15, is it? It's a match day 23. All those guys. And All Black Rugby over the last 3 or 4 years have won matches with the impact of our bench. So that's why either Slade or Barrett, for me, has to start on the bench.
The other point of interest is, I guess, how they work their way through the Rugby World Cup. You know, you look at that talent. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous. And the players that are not going to be going, I feel so sorry for them, because they deserve to be there.
And they're quality players.
Exactly. But how do they manage that squad through that period? Because you could get in a position where you don't do the rotation thing. Nobody's had any rugby by the end of the pool round. Or do they, or do they rotate all the way through that, then get to a quarter-final, and there's so many dynamics to think about.
I've got a sense, though, that they're going to have their strongest squad up against Argentina, and then through the rest of that pool, they'll probably give the guys a run, maybe one of the two games and rotate them, but then they've got to hit Tonga. I think Tonga's the last game before they hit the quarterfinals. I think you'll see the core group spend a lot of time together. They'll understand that group needs to get time under its belt. And the interesting thing being, well, do you give that X factor that if Waisake Nahola is there, do you give him that opportunity, Carmo?
See, personally, I think from the quarterfinals onwards, you actually don't need depth if you don't have injuries. You keep that same 23 for those 3 remaining games going all the way through. And once again, numbers 24 to 31 are there as backup support and play that important role. They can rotate a bit during the pool games, which are going to be quite physical, clearly, but they have to settle. Do they know? I mean, I'm interested. Do you think they know who their best forward pack is? Do you think, I asked you that earlier, who is it? Who are the guys that they think? Is there still competing? Is Wyatt Crockett challenging Tony Woodcock? Charlie Faumuinga comes in, is he challenging Owen Franks? We know where Dane Cole sits right now because he's playing such good footy. They're not just going to let no competition go for the jerseys.
No, I think it's a really difficult one. They have to make sure that they give opportunities to some players that could be pivotal. And one of those, you'd have to think Sam Cane. Because if Richie McCaw was to fall over, he's had no time in the black jersey at open side. And he's the next cab off the rank, isn't he? You're not going to play one of the other players at 7. So Sam Cane needs some game time in that jersey. Unfortunately, that's the All Black jersey's captain. Yeah. All Black captain's jersey. And how do you compensate for that? Do you stand Richie down? They have to give players some game time.
My guy that can push his way in and definitely into the bench spot, which once again really important, Charlie Faumuinga. I mean, I saw Owen Franks sort of step up to the mark defensively at Eden Park, and it was a great performance. I don't think there's a problem on the Loosehead side. I think Tony Woodcock is our man there, and he's so solid and so good at what he does. But Charlie Faumuinga coming back up to speed, and what he can do and what he can add over and above his ball-carrying ability, what he suits, and he's played well in this All Black frame before, is a guy that may force his way into that All Black starting pack. But outside of that, Goldie, I actually think they're pretty settled.
Okay. All right, well, that World Cup announcement, that happens on 6:30 p.m. on Sunday out of the Beehive on Sky Sport 1. Make sure you tune in for that. Well, across the course of this Rugby World Cup, there's going to be so much footage coming back to us here, so many stories, so many things to talk about. But I tell you something special we have managed to put together. Sky Sports, Fox Sports and SuperSport have combined to give you a very, very special show.
I just reckon a brew, bro.
A brew, bro?
No, a brew, bro. A brew, bro. A brew.
Yeah, a brew.
A beer.
A bear?
A beer.
A beer.
I'll have 3 LMPs, mate.
It'll be special. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because imagine if Australia don't make it out of their pool. Oh, yes. Oh, that could get really interesting. Mind you, I think they're going to make it. Anyway,
you've already got your lines sorted out if they don't, though, eh? Oh. give it the 4 more years to Gregan, mate.
Not 4 more years. There they are. Okay, Rooftop Rugby. That's going to be one I'm hosting down Saturdays, 9:30 on Sky Sport 1. Then World Cup Weekly. It's Mondays at 8:30 p.m. on Sky Sport 1 as well. And, of course, all of the World Cup matches are live and they are not exclusive. They're on Sky, of course, so we can watch all of them. Well, I tell you what, if we look at what's happened around the world in recent times and other games that went on the weekend, a big match that I looked at was the England versus France game. And I've watched England over the last 2 weekends, made multiple changes, and are they got to be concerned right now, one, with their form, and two, do they actually know who their team is?
Yeah, exactly. Well, one thing they don't want to be doing is watching the Rugby Championship, because I watched the Rugby Championship and then tuned into watching these games, and it was just a different level and different speed, completely different skill set. They're not the team they were 2 years ago. And that's to do with injuries, it's to do with poor discipline. Guys like Hartley and Tuolangi are no longer considered. They're throwing Burgess in there to try and find a spot from him. They are all over the shop. 2 years ago, they looked settled. They came out to New Zealand, didn't win a test, but they showed some potential. that potential now is struggling to be pieced together again.
2.5 weeks away, they are from opening the World Cup against Fiji, and in their pool they've got Australia and Wales. The responsibility for them to try and get out of their pool, and a disaster it would be if they didn't make it through to the quarterfinals. Carmo, is this? They've got to be concerning your
for them. Oh, no continuity whatsoever. Their forward pack, their set phase was disgusting. The scrum was under all sorts of pressure. The line out, and it's been the backbone, let's be honest, of English rugby has been really good. The crash bash game doesn't work in 2015. You know, the defence is too good. You just can't run guys off one off and expect to get through. The thing is, and this surprised me, actually surprised me damn saying it, but the guy I think changed it and needs to be in that English squad was Danny Cipriani. Came on the last sort of 20-odd minutes and with George Ford changed the game, changed the style. Two playmakers, could run the ball, did something different.
Unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
And they're a predictable side.
Yeah,
Always have been.
absolutely. And their discipline really poor. Now, funny enough, Steve Hansen said something a couple of weeks ago, and he's been in this situation, having to perform a Rugby World Cup at home isn't that damn easy.
Yeah.
With all the expectations on them. Can England handle that pressure?
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I look at them and I think to myself, they've done themselves no good in what they've done the last couple of weeks, and they're putting themselves under a whole lot of pressure. Other game that was played over the weekend was Italy. Italy played Scotland, and Scotland had a win here, and the reason I want to talk about this one is because former Stags and Highlanders player John Hardy's gone over there, loose forward, to try and make this Scottish squad, and he's made the first cut in terms of he is still alive. They've cut 8 players from the weekend, and he's still in there. Hasn't played a game, Carmo, in Scotland as of yet. How do you feel about a guy going over there literally to try his luck, and he's still in the frame?
I'm really pleased for him. I mean, playing international rugby is the height of anyone's rugby career. There's an opportunity, and it's not John Hardy's doing that. There's an opportunity. That is the rules that are in place, and no one should be having any beef over John Hardy. His performance was outstanding, and I think a major contribution to Scotland's performance. It's not Scotland making the rules either. This is a Rugby World Cup, World Rugby's rules that they're playing within, and there's the guidelines that are set. Look, he hasn't even got a club over there. He's gone over on the chance to stake a claim.
So's Gareth Anscombe. Be interesting to see how he goes for Wales as well. Another guy that just basically walked straight into the Welsh team, but by all accounts going really well.
Can I say one other thing about that game?
Please.
Italian player Mario Bergamasco off to his 5th Rugby World Cup.
Wow.
Brian Lima.
He must be
went
56,
to
is he?
Yeah, well, he isn't.
Around about your age?
Are you still available?
I actually played against him. I did, funny enough, in Huddersfield in 1999, but 5th Rugby World Cup.
That's amazing.
Brian Lima went to 5 with Samoa, so that's incredible, isn't it?
That is a
great effort.
Achievement. Well, last Friday, of course, the Wallabies announced, and Michael Cheika, they announced their Rugby World Cup squad, and it wasn't without controversy. And I'm going to first and foremost, Quade Cooper's in the squad. He's made the team. Carmo, can you see him playing a major part in this Rugby World Cup?
I can't personally.
It's the most sensible thing you've said all night about a back. Anyway.
No, just that. I mean, I look at Cheika's career, you know, with the Waratahs. He's got Foley there. He's got Phipps, who won a Super Rugby title under him, understands what the coach wants. I think the settled play that those two can have, how Foley can direct things at 10. That's the way I would see it if the Wallabies want to go forward. But hey, this guy's unpredictable. He's a damn good coach. He's had success, and he's going to change things up.
You've Cipriani, you've got Cooper. There's unpredictability. We're down the line. That's why you like Sapawanga getting in there, and the fact the way he's playing, he can break things open. This is unbelievable for me when I look at some of the decisions they've made. Nick White is not going to a Rugby World Cup after kicking a goal against New Zealand and then scoring a wonderful try, Marshy, to beat us in Sydney for the first time they've put us under any sort of pressure, and he's not going?
No, and off the back of Will Genia, who's not played any rugby. So you've got Genia and you've also got Phipps, and Phipps had a terrible game in Sydney. Yep. And Nick White came on and made a big difference. Now, it's fine if you've got two halfbacks in good form who are playing rugby. Genia's not playing rugby. Phipps is a bit ropey.
Yeah.
They needed to take him. They needed to take Nick White, and I think it's a mistake not to have him there.
Okay, no James Hall, no Scott Hickenbotham as well. Has he left himself vulnerable? Has he taken some serious risks, Carmo, in this case?
Mate, only 2 hookers. Yeah, he's taken some serious risks, but that's the type of ballsy coach he seems to be.
Why
go with Hallwell, who, let's be honest, hasn't really been in the Wallaby lineup for the last couple of years. Played well in Sydney, no doubt about that, but Douglas and Mum come back from Europe. They got good performance. Skelton's his man. He is going to take some risks, the coach, and we need to be wary of what these guys can do. Just finally on the 9s and 10s, I think he goes for combinations. You know, the Reds combination, the Waratahs combination.
Beale might come into the mix.
And I think that's the way he thinks as a coach.
I can't believe he's taken so many outside backs, so many wings. They're one of those positions where you've got guys you can usually cover out there, and he's got 4 guys who really, they're wing, specialist wings. Well, I was on a special assignment over the weekend down in Queenstown, and Sterling Mortlock, the former Wallaby and Wallaby skipper, one of our nemesis when he played against us, was down there as well. And I spoke to him just after this Wallaby team was announced and asked him what was the biggest surprise for him.
Oh, look, without a doubt for me, no James Horwill. In particular, on the back of probably some of his best form in a couple of years. And he's led the team, he's a senior player. When you look at Rugby World Cup campaigns, typically you need a really strong leadership group who can deal with stress, pressure, build up expectation and everything that goes into a World Cup campaign. So, not having him there, I'm thinking, wow, that's a massive, massive surprise.
Nick White misses out. To me, that's shocking. In fact, is there a risk in that? The fact he's only taking 2 halfbacks and 2 hookers.
Personally, I actually think there's more of a risk in the two hookers. That strategy. I go back to when I played him in 2007. Matt Giteau played half the season at 9.
Giteau, good face play. Oh, too easy, Matt Giteau.
If need arise for him to play 9, he'd do it, and he'd do it easily. Would he be like a specialist 9 though? Probably not, right? So there's a risk there, no doubt about it. But I look at the hookers, only having 2 hookers, and in particular we're in this pool of death. Effectively Fiji, England and Wales are all massive games, must-win games. And to only have 2 hookers in that 30-man squad, and one's the captain, right? Maury's a fantastic leader, but that's a risk as well.
They've found room for almost 5 or 6 guys who can play on the wing. Is he not 100% comfortable who he's going to have out there? Is it Henry Spade? Is it Joe Tamani? Is it Drew Mitchell? Is there a little bit of indecision there?
You know, the absolute finishers who are geniuses, they always pick themselves as the winger. The reality is, after that, it's a position that you put in at the end. But there are a number of guys in that squad, in that 30-man squad, and we look at it, and there's other positions where we really lean on. So it really creates an interesting dynamic.
Can you see an All Blacks Wallabies final?
New Zealand, I absolutely rank them #1 as favourites. And the Wallabies, given all the things we've been speaking about, still I feel as though having a tough pool will be the best thing for them. They'll be battle hardened by the time the quarterfinals come around. And typically Australians, when our backs are against the wall, that's when we're at our most dangerous. I'd love to see that. Wouldn't that be a great final? Aussies v New Zealand. But mate, there's a lot of teams that are going over there to win that cup, to win the trophy. It's going to be awesome.
Well, they know the challenges are in front of them. If you're an Australian, are you more confident or less confident now they've named their team, Carmo?
Mate, he's a good poker player, I tell you. He's not giving anything away. And they are confident, because they've won over there before. I think that's really, really important. I mean, a lot of people say history actually doesn't matter. This is 2015. Mate, history does matter when it's giving you confidence and the understanding to go to Twickenham and win a Rugby World Cup. I think they are. Oh, look, I'm worried about the Wallabies because I'm worried about Michael Cheika. I've just seen his record as a coach, and it's bloody impressive for short periods of time. So, yeah, they are. Well, they're Aussies, mate.
Yeah, they're Aussies. Yeah, I did ask him if he was offside in 2003 when he got that intercept. He said he was. Well, if you want to know
a lot of hair on show down there in Queensland.
Yeah, a lot of hair on show down there. Well, I tell you what, it's a special
stressful.
assignment. I tell you, well, bottom line, after the Bledisloe Cup here in Auckland, Sterlo rang me. He said he wasn't happy with the result, the fact there was 1-1. He threw down a challenge, and thanks to BMW, they took us down to the snow farm just outside of Queenstown to do some driving, to test our skills, and to settle the score. We're in Queenstown, we're at the snow farm, we're at altitude. Bledisloe Cup this year, Sterling Mortlock, who's with me. It's 1-1. We're going to have a crack today. BMW have given us the opportunity to go one-on-one and check it out. There you are, there's your car, there's my car. me and you, Mano and Mano to decide who really wins the Bledisloe Cup 2015.
Correct. Well, we know you guys have got it, but this will be the moral victory that the Wallabies are after, mate.
All right, here, this is challenge number 1. What we're looking at behind us, Sturlo, is that's just ice. That is one block of ice. They ice skate on here, they play curling, they do the whole lot. The cones are out, and we've got to do the slalom. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that this is not good at all. In particular, our finishing point, there's a petrol station or something over there as well.
Right. I'm looking forward to this. Let's see what we've got, eh?
Yeah, it'll be interesting, mate. Here we go. Let's go.
Can't believe it, Stu. I honestly can't believe it. The first event, and you've been better than me consistently in the warm-ups. When the pressure came on and it was time to do the business, what happened?
Mate, you came through the goods.
This is a straight drag race. Australia versus New Zealand. Nice job, mate. Well done.
That was good.
Well done.
Thanks for letting me stay in the game.
No, not at all, not at all.
This is all about the stopwatch. Start point's right here. I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1, go. Fastest car around the track wins.
Well, Sterling's gone first. He's recorded a time of 1 minute, 5 seconds, 0.88. Pretty solid run. He kept it pretty safe, but I can understand why. This is about getting around there safe, getting around there. He's put the pressure on me now. It's entirely up to me. I think I fluked it. I really think I fluked it.
Mate, you did well. You really did well. Especially in that icy patch on the back side there.
Mate, what a lot of fun. I mean, I'd do this any time again.
Yeah. Well played, mate.
Let's enjoy the Rugby World Cup now, eh? The real competition starts.
It'll be a lot of fun watching this.
Counties Manukau Rugby. They're known as the Steelers, famed for loyal fans, a picnic atmosphere, dynamic rugby, and a goat called Poppy. They've produced 24 All Blacks. The first was Pat Walsh, the most famous, John Olomu. They were NPC finalists 2 years running in 96 and 97.
Now Vindiri's into the clear. Still on his feet. Feeney's going to score. And Counties hit back immediately.
They won the championship, beating Otago in 2012.
Nano Williams. The Steelers are taking control at Ecoline.
And partied hard. Then in 2013, under coach Tana Umanga, they won the most prized of provincial trophies, the Ranfurly Shield, and they join us tonight live in the studio.
Yeah, I remember those days facing up to John Olomu, Joeli Vindiri at Counties. Always a tough challenge there. Friday night, round 3's already started, of course, in the ITM Cup. Round 3 down on Friday night is between Counties, Manukau and Hawke's Bay. It's great to have in the studio with us tonight their captain, the Counties captain, Jimmy Tupou, and Onosai Avaa, who's with us as well. A veteran at the age of 30, of course, in ITM Cup these days. Look, let's sign off on the start so far to the season, Jimmy, and good result against Manitou, a little bit closer than you would have liked later on, but then against Canterbury, you gave them a good run for their money.
Yeah, no, I think we've started quite well. You know, obviously, Manitou game, we let them in near the end in the Canterbury game. You know, we felt like we defended the whole game, but you know, we still got points out of that. So no, been a pretty good start.
Honestly, it's your second season with the Steelers. When you look at this side, what are the possibilities? What is it you see in this team?
Oh, you know, we've got great young talent coming through, and obviously you can see with the mix that the team's been this last couple of weeks, you know, there's a lot of depth there, and in the young talent. So I think, you know, this year I think that young talent is going to do really well for the guys this year.
Well, you're sitting beside a captain. Your captain here beside you, and you think about it, How old are you, 23?
23, yeah.
23 years old and the captain of the side, but Pukekohe High School, you played there, born and bred. You've just bought a house there, I understand, so you're well and truly settled. What about getting that opportunity really, really young, and the fact these last 3 or 4 years, last couple of seasons with the Crusaders, has it all gone pretty quickly in your eyes?
Yeah, no, it only feels like yesterday. I was running around first 15 and, you know, fast forward a few years and it's just gone really, really quick. Yeah.
What about being captain when you were told that you had the responsibility to take this team into the Premiership? How did you feel about that when Tana Umaga gave you that responsibility?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised, to be honest. But at the same time, I was excited to, you know, it's a new challenge for me, and I've been in the team for a while, so yeah, no, it's been good to be a leader.
Have you been a captain before?
No, that's my first gig at it, so no, it's been been pretty good.
How's he going?
He's going great. You know, one of the things I love about Jimmy is just his humility, and you know, coming from South Auckland, that's a huge thing. You know, we train in a humble environment, and he leads by example, but he leads in a way that he brings that humility where the guys respect him, and obviously with that, when he makes a call, we're all in for it. You know, so. You've got
a bit of experience in terms of international rugby around the New Zealand under-20 side, and a lot of players come out of that and they've learned a great deal. For you, that whole experience and playing on the international stage, what was it like?
Yeah, it was kind of like my first taste of playing, you know, rugby at a national level, and yeah, I took a lot out of it.
I mean, you look at these tournaments, and they're high-pressure tournaments, aren't they? They played over a short period of time. How do you feel you were at the end of the tournament in terms of where your game had got to, and did it prepare you for that next level, that Super Rugby level?
Yeah, definitely it prepared me for that next step, and you know, just being in that environment to start with, you know, really kind of, you know, personally I grew quite a bit, not only as a player but as a person as well.
Well, so it's fair to say you've been around a little bit now. At the age of 30, started off playing. Too long. Not too well. Come on now. In these terms, we look at the age of these young guys playing ITM now.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, for you played for Auckland, and then you've gone off and played overseas for the Sale Sharks and come back. First and foremost, how's the ITM Cup changed in your eyes?
Well, like I said before, I think players are a lot younger now. I remember my first few games for Auckland. You know, a lot of the guys were around the 27, 28 age bracket. I think now it's a little bit younger. And, you know, I never thought I'd be one of the oldest in the teams, but here I am today. I think that's been the difference in dynamics. I think just the age difference from when I first started and up until now, the players are a lot younger. But at the same time, they're just as big, just as fast, you know. So.
And comparatively, though, if you think about that, they're big and they're strong and they're fast, comparatively to playing over in Europe and playing in the Northern Hemisphere?
Similar, very similar. You know, it's a contact sport, and guys want to be as big as they can. So I mean, in both in Europe and here in New Zealand, I think they're, you know, physically they're the same.
I know you've had some time with the Blues, but I'll get to that in a second. I want to talk to you, Jimmy, about the fact you play your ITM Cup for counties, but for the last 3 years you've been down with the Crusaders, and how does that compare to being in a counties environment?
Yeah, I think it's a bit different. You know, I think every team's got their own unique culture, and I'm from the counties region, so it's always good to come back. But you know, obviously down there it's a bit different down there, and you kind of learn as you go. You learn from senior players what the culture is, and yeah, no, it's been good to be involved in two different cultures.
And it helped with your leadership in terms of what you're trying to do at counties?
Yeah, like, you know, I've been training with, you know, some of the best players in the world, and just getting little things from them, and you know, being seen as more of a leader back in counties really helps me out.
Honestly, you're around the Blues for a number of seasons, you know, in and around their environment. Has it been frustrating for you to sit back and watch how the difficulties that franchise is going through in current times?
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same day, you know, you still love the franchise, and you still want the best of them. You know, so I mean, you know, it has been hard. At the same time, you're always hopeful. You know, you always look to the future, and like I said, this young talent coming through is going to be great. The
future's going to change, isn't it? And Tana Umaga has taken the reins there next season. And from your experience and what you've seen over the last 18 months with him, do you think it's the right step for him? He's ready for that next level of Super Rugby?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I think wherever Tana goes, he'll be a great coach. I think stepping up into the Blues job, I think he's definitely ready for it. The thing that's great about Tana is that you know, he wants the best for the players, and he'll bring out the best in players. And I think as a coach, you know, that's one thing that you kind of aim towards is to bring out the best in a player and in a team, and that's what he does. And yeah, he'll do that for the Blues.
Jimmy, you've experienced Hannah through his coaching and where you are at, and you look at him. How big a loss is it going to be for the counties region, given all the great successes you have had in recent times? Like, you've won the Shield, you've won the championship, you've been a contender now. I mean, for you, what's it been like playing for Tanarumanga?
I think it's been great. Ever since Tana's been there, he's been really passionate about counties. He puts his heart and soul into everything, and that goes onto the field for us as well.
Was that is that your most memorable moment as a Steeler, winning the Ranfurly Shield, being part of that?
Yeah, no, it was real blessed to be part of that, and Tana was a huge part of that, and very lucky to be part of that team. Yeah.
It's something different though. It's something special about the Ranfurly Shield, isn't it? Did you notice the moment? I think the next week you had a game at home, and the whole surrounding of the game completely changed, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was probably the first time counties you wouldn't be able to see the grass on the grass area in counties. So just to have the whole community behind us was something else. It's
got a special feel about it, doesn't it? Playing down there at Ecolite Stadium and being in front of those fans. They are a passionate group on us, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about the community. And when we had the Shield last year, you're walking through the township, and something about the Shield. People recognise that, and they recognise that that Shield kind of builds the culture in the team, and like I said, in the community as well.
What about I want to talk about your positions now, both of you, because you've got that versatility tag. A straight up flanker. Originally a flanker, you can play all three positions. For you, Jimmy, as well, that ability to play lock and loose forward 6 and 8. From you, what's the position you prefer most? And if you're going to go to that next level, because that's what everyone's chasing, do you know where it is? Do you know where it wants to be?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I definitely would like to be a full-time loose forward.
Yep.
But I'm equally as comfortable to play in the second row. But going forward, I'll definitely like to play in the second row.
Well, that's a role you have to play for the Crusaders, isn't it? When you're coming off the bench, you've got to have that versatility. But is that your skill set? You like to see yourself? Who do you model yourself on? Do you look at Liam Messon? Do you look at a Victor Vito? Are they the guys you go? They're the guys I want to be like? Or is it Jerome Kano?
I'll take a bit from everyone, really. I don't really like to base my play on someone else. I think everyone's got their own unique style that they, that's the reason why they're there. So I think you just pick little things off everyone.
What about for you on the side, the fact you've played all three positions? Where you are in your career, is there a fact that there's one position you can do better?
Yeah, I think I'm a specialist open side.
Yep.
I can cover the 8 and 6 well. But for me, I've learnt that with my body shape, with reading the game, I think specialist 7 is definitely my position.
All right, I've got to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you this, but life after rugby, I know you've got a long history in music, and perhaps something coming out at the end of the year?
Yeah, just looking at recording an album at the moment.
Fantastic.
acoustic pop album. So that's been a hobby of mine. This last kind of 10 years playing rugby. And kind of almost forced into it, You always need a guy playing guitar.
Guitar gets you in the team, everyone gets one selected, but you've been better than that. What about outside of that? You got something else going on?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, wife and I looked at getting my jerseys framed. Obviously coming towards the end of my career and looking to get my jerseys framed, and having a look at the prices around, they're just so expensive. So we thought, it'd be great for us to maybe do it myself.
Yep.
And so I started doing it myself, and from then it's kind of taken shape this last couple of years. We've made it into a business.
There it is. www.newzealandsportsframes.co.nz. Check it out. Fantastic to know someone's going in that part of the game. Jimmy, I'm not going to ask you that. You've got plenty of years in front of you, but what can the fans expect on Friday night? This is what I want to hear from this county's team and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I guess just a team that's committed to performance. A team that plays with a lot of passion and wears that jersey with a lot of pride.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Good luck on Friday night. Looking forward to that. I'll be there. Looking forward to that game. Well, of course, we're into round 3 of the ITM Cup. There's been a couple of great weeks already this season, and we've got a few guys actually. 5 of them, 5 players. We think you should keep your eye on.
And it's been picked off, and it's Fafita. He's going to get his second intercept try.
Wide now to Stevenson, beats one, gets it away to Declan O'Donnell. He's got room down there. Inside ball again to Stevenson. Around he goes, short Stevenson. What a great start for the Mooloos. Straight up through the middle goes Tia. Will they stop him over the
22, up to the line, try time, Bay of Plenty, that'll seal it.
The pick and go might work here, the pick, they've gone. Referee says try. Northland strike back.
Ngatai, this one's dropped, Sirathamani Valu leaves it behind, here's the big chance. Auckland will shut the door on Taranaki. Enrico Ioane on debut for the Blue and White Hoops gets the winning try.
I belong.
I belong.
I belong.
I belong to Team All Blacks.
A team of millions. Originating
From a mighty little country. Bonding players.
Past and present.
mums,
dads,
brothers, sisters,
aunties,
And uncles.
all of us.
All of us.
All of us, teammates.
Teammates. Uniting everyone.
Now, great game.
From small blacks
It's All Blacks.
Inspiring our young players
to live our dream of pulling on the black jersey.
We're a team like no other.
You belong.
I belong
We belong.
To Team All Blacks.
to Team All Blacks.
Forever.
Forever.
Forever. Forever.
Yeah, Carmo, I was one take on that. I'm not sure how long it took you to be there. Well, of course, the Rugby World Cup is not that far away now, Car, but just over 2 weeks. And last week, we gave away a couple of these books, Graham Henry's books. We've got a couple of these books to give away this week as well. Here it is. It's the World Cups, 1987 to 2015. And the copies we have this week are signed by both Sir Graham Henry and Sir Brian Lahore. Make sure you get yourself in to win those. How do you do it? Well, you go to send us some tweets at The Breakdown NZ and let us know who you think is going to win the premiership of the ITM Cup this year. We had the Counties boys in a little earlier on. Let's see whether or not you think they've got the way. And there it is. Congratulations to last week's winner, Sam Ford from Canterbury. He is going to enjoy preparing himself for the big World Cup. Well, of course, there's big games coming up this weekend as well in the ITM Cup, and this is one of the big ones we want to focus on. Auckland versus Canterbury, this old classic. That's live at 2:30. That's coming in from Eden Park. And this is an absolute classic, guys. 30 years ago, Carmo, you didn't play in this one. Yeah, you went around then, were you?
I didn't, but Andrew Mertens was a ball boy,
Are you
I
serious?
think. Yeah, 52,000 people at that game. It was
Lancaster
staggering.
Park.
24-0 at half-time, right? Final score, 28-23 to Auckland. They take the Ranfurly Shield. This is a great game. Canterbury about to go for their 24th defence. Auckland take it and they go for 61 defences.
What I love,
Start of a
Marshy,
great era.
What I love, Marshy, is the tactical play in the second half, the kicking game of Canterbury, and it was the old classic.
With the old leather nut as well,
Right up
which is
your
good
alley.
to see. But yeah, look, the Canterbury got so much change out of the kicking in this particularly second half. Look at this. This is Rob Deans. Look at the size of him there, and the good old-fashioned Gary Owen, as they'd call it. And,
Hey, how far has our game changed? 20 All Blacks played in this match.
yeah,
20 All Blacks, and some of the great All Blacks. Dean's brothers, of course, from Canterbury, Wayne Smith, running the cutter at number 10, Craig Green, a lot of guys that went on to win the World Cup in '87, Terry Wright, and there John Kerwin, and there Grant Fox, in Abercrombie actually, not Sean Fitzpatrick was hooker, John Drake was out there. Mate, it was wonderful.
What about someone who was there, old Golden Tonsils himself, Grant Nisbet was calling that game.
Yeah.
Hey?
And what about the halftime check? Can I just go on about this, Chris Wiley?
Oh, please
Down
do.
24-0 at halftime. 5-minute halftime break, so they stayed outside in the beautiful Lancaster, the sun out there, and he walks on with the Adidas ball, grabs one off the ball boy on the way through, storms out, Mertz, storms out to the middle and says, "Do you guys know what this is? It's a bloody ball." Now go get it.
That's analysis at its best.
Yeah.
And don't we love at this time of the year those day games, wonderful games at Eden Park, particularly last weekend as well. Saturday they took on at Taranaki. It'll be really interesting. Talking about coaches, Razor would love to come up to Eden Park and get the result. Well, of course, there's another big game. Taranaki, they take on Otago, and this one here is live on Saturday as well. It's at 5:30, and Marshy, Taranaki are the defending champions, and they are 0 for 2 and suffering from injuries. We saw it last year when you saw Wellington, what they went through, and they were in a position where they ended up going down to the championship. Injuries will hurt you, and at the moment it's a struggle for them. James Marshall, today I hear, ruled out for the rest of the season.
Wow.
They're in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, they are. And I guess the best way to get you out of trouble is to be home in front of your own crowd and to really motivate yourself, go out there and put in a performance as befitting of being a team that got through to the final, and I think that's the challenge for them. But the hardest thing about that is to face a team that's also struggling in Otago, who can come and sneak under the radar. It would be a fascinating game, that one.
Well, what's going to help Taranaki? Brady Barrett's coming back for this match.
Yes.
He's going to be released, and him and his home paddock, opportunity to play and do what he has to do in front of his home fans. It's great. They need to get back on the horse. But the margins we talked about, after the Bay Plenty game, the margins are so small in this tournament, which is why it's so good. It's a competition, Goldie. No one should know who's going to win the damn game.
Well,
we don't.
Bay Plenty. They take on Waikato. That's on Sunday, this game. And, of course, these are two teams from the Chiefs franchise. And there's always plenty to play and plenty of competition. Waikato off to a pretty good start, a positive start. They've done well their first couple of games. Went down to Tasman. They picked up a good win against Manawatu 2. I mean, are they looking at this and they're going, we want to contend this year. We want to be competitors. Bay Plenty, however, they want to try and win the championship.
This is a big game for Waikato because they're big brother in the Chiefs franchise. That's really important for them. Momentum. Top 4 is what they're looking at, clearly. I mean, once you're there in the semi-finals, most people have a pretty good season. They can go on from there. Bay Plenty have got 2 wins at home. They got some confidence. They can do something as well. But no, I think the odds would have to say Waikato. Can I say one other stat? After 3 rounds now of the ITM Cup, no team who's been winning at half-time has lost a game. So think of that when you're starting to put your bets on.
That's why
no one.
Notes,
That's
no
why
one.
you bring those notes.
No
you
one.
are prepared. You're ready to go. I'm sure you're both
half-time
watching. We should make sure you are tuned on Sunday. The big announcement of the World Cup squad for the All Blacks. That is 6:30 coming out of the Beehive on Sky Sport 1. Make sure you are there and watching it. It'll be fascinating television, I am sure. Enjoy the ITM Cup. Look forward to seeing you next week.
The Breakdown was brought to you by Burger King.